Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin.
Justin,
Yes.
I've got a question. This came up in my household today, and I feel like, you know what?
Ooh.
I think I need to share it with you. All right.
Okay. I always feel
You-
like I'm a member of your household, so this
are.
This tracks. This tracks.
You are. At one point today, Jill was like, hey, Justin sent me his resume, and I'm reviewing it, and Allie just looks up from dinner. She goes, you're Justin? I go, yeah. And she goes, she takes a bite of food and she goes, that's suspicious. I'm like, why is that suspicious? And she goes, you're suspicious. I'm like, you know what? Point taken. I love my daughter.
Your daughter is phenomenal, first and foremost. That is it's amazing.
I was like,
It's
you know,
suspicious.
just
Why? You're suspicious.
hit him with random nonsense. And what are they going to do? You know,
What's that thing? Don't let him know your next move.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Never let him know your next move.
All I do is take left turns, motherfucker. What do you want from me? You know. Anyway, earlier today,
Yes.
Jill we feed our dogs like I used to be like, hey, feeding the dog, you get them the dry food out of the bag, and there you go, problem solved.
Sure.
But then it's like, hey, your dog's getting fat. You should do something about that. I'm like, well, how do we do something about that? To like give him other food in addition to that? I'm like, oh, okay. So we give her like now it's like a thing where we give them like pumpkin puree and we give them carrots.
Yep.
And at one point I had some celery. I was giving that to them too, and they liked that, but I'm out of celery. So anyway, I digest. I'm putting in, Jill's putting in the carrots, and she goes, God, these things are so slimy. It's gross. And I was like, yeah. And I just immediately go, all right. Would you rather drink a glass of water that came from like the carrot water in the bag?
Oh, I just got goosebumps when you said that.
The carrot water in the bag, the leftover water from cooking corn on the cob, or hot dog water.
I knew hot dog water was coming into this. Somehow I knew that. Oh man, great
Which one are you drinking?
First, I have to ask: did she participate?
100%. She gave me her order, her ranking immedially.
Oh, she stack ranked him. All right, great. All right,
immediately.
I
already knew what I already knew what last place was for her. There was no surprise there at all.
So here's the thing. I want to throw a curveball in here, and I'm gonna say I want to say hot dog water first.
Okay, explain yourself.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like have you ever gargled with salt water?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're sore throat, Yeah. And you spit it out, but a little bit gets down. You're like, it's not great, but it wasn't horrible. Now take away a little bit of the salt, but add a little bit of flavor in there. And now we're talking about some like salty flavored water. I feel like that's going to be electrolytes, Doug. That's basically what Gatorade is. It's just flavor. It's like berry flavored hot dog water.
It's true. Those are facts. If you look at the ingredients, it's like
it's hot dog.
Artificial flavoring, water, hot dogs.
Red dye number 45.
Red dye number 45.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
I genuinely think. Am I drinking the hot dog water hot or cold? That's because that's gonna.
Well, that was gonna be the follow up.
Okay.
The follow up.
All right. So let me give you. Just without temperature coming into the equation. I'm gonna say genuinely. I'm gonna say corn first, hot dog second, carrot third.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Jill did carrot, corn, hot dog.
Interesting. Okay. Very.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more different.
Yeah. Yeah. She was like, well, corn number 2 for both of y'all. But yeah, she was like, absolutely not.
No, corn was first for me.
Oh, corn was first. That's
I
right.
said,
yeah.
I changed it. Yeah. So corn, hot dog, carrot.
Gotcha. All right. Now the water is cold.
Right. So, okay. No, actually, here's the thing. I'm going to amend. No, I think that's the same. I'm going the same order, even if it's cold.
I think it makes a difference.
You do.
I think it makes.
I'm wondering if the hot dog if the hot dog water would almost be like a savory tea.
I think it would be chunky because you have some of the fat, some of the juice,
Oh,
the fat. It gets
if it's
cold.
Okay.
It congeals.
I thought you meant hot. I'm like, what are you doing to your hot dogs in the water,
What
Doug?
are we talking about? Why is water chunky? What's
Why
happening?
are you breaking them? You don't have to break them up like ground beef. You just cook them and eat them, Doug.
What are you talking
What are you
about?
doing?
You got it's smashed hot dogs too.
That's not a thing, Doug. Smashed hot dogs?
Hey,
like
no,
smashed potatoes?
you have that, and then for dessert you have glazed hot dogs.
Which now I see glazed hot dogs is a whole different conversation. I get that. So you're saying you have to smash the hot dogs.
Which nowadays with the word glaze, the glazed hot dog sounds even less appetizing now than ever. You familiar with glazing, Justin?
Wait, I'm sorry.
Are you in the know with glazing?
In regards to what we did in the test kitchen or other glazing?
Are you familiar with like the term glazing in the common, lexicon?
Like if I were to Urban Dictionary, you mean?
Justin's really glazed. Justin's really glazing that guy,
I can't 100% say, but I'm pretty sure contextually I can guess what we're talking about.
Probably not, but that's why I'm here, to help you out. So glazing basically means that lost one of my cameras and it's back. All right.
I was gonna say it got real choppy for me.
I was showing.
I was having a real hard time following the conversation.
You're like glazing. I mean, sure, yeah, glaze me, daddy.
Like, I
think we're okay. So, glazing essentially means like you're like over the top, supporting someone or complimenting someone. A lot of people will refer to Elon Musk fans as people who will glaze him on regular when he does something like, oh yeah, you're just glazing him, just glazing him. They're like, yeah, he's the best. They're like, yeah, stop glazing him.
Here's the thing. It doesn't surprise me that Elon Musk fans would glaze him in any interpretation of the phrase.
Mm-hmm. True.
That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, very much not what I assumed we were talking about, obviously.
Yeah.
So would I eat a glazed hot dog? Like if someone just heaped praise on the hot dog and then I ate it, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. That's different.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
I like a hot dog. I like a hot dog who's been built up self-conscious, self-esteem wise.
Yeah. You're just like, this is the best hot dog. Hot dogs are the best, man. They can't do anything wrong. You put anything you want on them. You can put them on a bun, any bun, hamburger bun, whatever you want. You can put whatever condiments you want on them.
Yeah.
You can put them in a taco if you want. You can put them in a burrito.
A hot dog is nothing more than a taco, which is a sandwich.
Right. Legally, all of these things are true.
Speaking, yes.
All of these things are true. You can make a dessert hot dog. It is the best thing in the world,
Yeah. Would you eat a glazed hot dog?
Yeah.
Like a glazed hot dog that's been glazed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm not afraid of sperm. I'm not afraid of it.
Hold on.
Like, wait a minute, what?
We switched meanings.
Hold on a second. Back to temperature.
Right.
If it's cold water,
that's a good point.
Does it change your ranking system of these three waters?
I would, you know what? I would need to run a test now. I would need to cook some hot dogs, boil up some hot dogs, and then let the water cool and see what we got going on. Because if it's thick, I think that would change it for me.
Yeah.
But is the carrot water slimy? Because I feel like would you rather have thick water or slimy water? What viscosity of water would you prefer?
That's what we're talking about, man. We start talking about viscosity of this sort of stuff, like the corn would suck because you're probably going to get strands of husk and stuff in there. That's going to be pretty awful,
Well, also, has the corn been sitting in like on the wet wall at a store? Like, has it just been like sitting in that water for a while? All that stuff coming, like all that mist.
What I mean is like
into the bag.
What I mean is like you've boiled your corn. All right. Yeah. And then you take it out and you're like, oh, I gotta leave the water in the pot and let it cool off. And then
did I say corn? I meant carrot.
Oh, maybe you
did I say corn? Oh,
I think you said, I was thinking corn. I don't know. Whatever.
That's
what
carrot. Like, because carrots, they're usually on the wet wall and they've got the mister. And so like, are we talking about water that's just been like sitting in that bag for God knows how long?
Yeah, man, you get to the end of the bag and there's some goodies at the bottom. And you're just like, let's pour that in a glass and drink it.
See, I feel like for me, that would be like hot dog water is fresh. Corn water is fresh. You just made that corn water today.
Unless you let it cool. And
that's well, either way, but I know the origin of the corn water. I know the
origin of the carrot water too.
No, I don't. That's the thing. I get that bag and there's already water in that thing. I didn't put that water in there. Where'd that water come from, Doug?
What's worse is when you get there, you're like, oh, this doesn't seem too bad. And then the carrots get slimier and slimier. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what is happening?
Well, then also, it begs the question, how do you get warm carrot water? Are you dumping out the carrot water from the bag, warming it up, and then drinking it?
Yeah, if you want to go warm, because there's warm and cold. So we're going to warm up that water.
You got to warm that carrot. Hey, I'm having trouble sleeping tonight. You got any... Get a glass of warm
I got
carrot water?
something for you. You want some warm carrot water? Like, what? Yeah, dude.
I don't. Do I? Do you like it? Does it work for you?
It's going to take you places. It may not be places you want to go, but it's going to take you places.
You're going to have a ride tonight. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's going to ride right through your system. That's for sure.
That's just, oh my God. What a great, what a great would you rather? Yeah. Hot dog water has to be put in there. What else? Let's see. What else do you boil? Yeah.
What other beverages can you make from?
What other beverages can you make?
The aftermath of fruits and vegetables and questionable meats.
Yeah.
How about macaroni water? Any sort of pasta water.
Any sort of pasta water. That'd just be real starchy.
Yeah, it'd be pretty gross.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit thicker than what you want. It'd be like, just tastes like, I don't think that'd be too bad. It wouldn't be great, but I wouldn't be like,
great. I think it'd be tough to drink after you, if you chop up, peel and chop up potatoes before. I'll usually soak mine in water so they don't brown while I'm doing some other stuff, and then you dump that out. That water again. You want to talk about starch? I feel like that because it granular. That water would be like sandpaper water going down.
Yeah, that wouldn't be
not enjoyable.
Not to mention, God, yeah. Again, we're talking about water that you cook in because I'm just like, oh, I soak my mushrooms. Yeah, that's been living in some shit dirt. I don't want to drink that.
Right,
absolutely not. Gross. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, just came up randomly. I was like, improv, Doug. Yeah, let's do this. Let's think of 3 things that Jill could have to choose from, and I was like, I'm gonna throw hot dog water in there, and she was like, you're disgusting, and I'm like, I know. That's why you married me.
You knew what you were getting into, so
you know who I am.
That's on you.
You know who this
is. It's a wonderful dinner discussion.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely post lunch for me.
Oh, it was earlier in the day. We're kicking the day off right with this.
Mm-hmm. I was like, here you go. Question for you, lady.
We're sliding into the second half of our day with this question, Jill.
Yeah, fun stuff. Good stuff. So let us know. What do you think? Would you prefer to have carrot water, corn water, or hot dog water? And does the temperature change your ranking based on those sorts of things? So let us know down in those comments. We'd love to hear about you.
Down them comments.
Or hit us up in the Discord. Link in the description down below. youtube.com/MyGapPodcast.
Real quick, because you almost slipped into an accent there. And I wanted to bring something up. So Richie apparently did not like it was either yours, mine, or our combined British accents a few episodes back when we were talking about
pretty offensive.
When we were talking about the the national Hans Zimmer redoing the national anthem, and he left a comment saying that it was offensive, stereotypical, and offensive, but perfect. Like he loved it. But again, this is something that I was just watching. I don't know if you're watching right now the new Daredevil.
Not yet. I want them all to come out.
So D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox are doing the press tour, and what that includes now with anything is all these different variety, and they're glazing. They were glazing each other, glazing hot dogs. It was a whole thing.
Nice.
It was on their OnlyFans. Well worth the $9 a month.
Wow, that's a deal.
It is a lot of content for that price. Good value. So there's Variety and Architecture Digest, all these YouTube channels that have them in to do so-and-so answers the most asked questions, or what is 10 things that you can't travel without? What's in your bag? That kind of shit. So they were doing one, I can't remember the channel, but they were doing one where it was called First Impression. And they had cards in front of them that had the names of people, and they had to do impressions, and the other person had to guess who the impression was. And it was wonderful because neither of them are impressionists. And they were both very uncomfortable, super uncomfortable, because they're like, I don't, this isn't what I do. I'm not an impressionist. And so sometimes they were just They were just saying the words of a famous quote, so hoping that the person would get them. Like Vincent D'Onofrio's like, if I could turn back time. And it's like, Sherry. It's like, yeah, you got it. You got that, sure.
Like, you're not playing the game. You're like, fuck you. I didn't sign up for this.
So Charlie Cox was doing Anchorman. He had to do Ron Burgundy.
Oh, no.
And so he did it. But the funny thing is, he does a flawless American accent in the show, could not, for some reason, figure out how to do a Ron Burgundy. It was not hitting. Vincent D'Onofrio did not razz him at all. But then D'Onofrio had to do a British accent for something. And Charlie Cox had something to say. And D'Onofrio stopped. He goes, wait, stop. He goes, what is that? What is that? And the play between them is amazing. But it made me think about this comment for Richie. He goes, what is that? He goes, every time that a Brit tries to do an American accent, we give them a ton of leeway. We always say, you're an actor, you're doing your best, you're figuring it out, you're finding the voice, good attempt, good effort. It's always fun. Every time an American tries to do a British accent, it's met with disdain. He goes, we're always told what a shit accent it is. What is that? Why is it? Why are the Brits so touchy about
because
their,
the sun
about their
used to
accents?
never set on the British Empire, Justin.
It's very true.
Because they're very proud. They're very proud of their heritage and their culture and things like that. So,
yes.
Yeah, their colonies
Absolutely.
are big deals. Yeah, I mean,
But I do find it interesting. Like immediately, I saw that clip, and then immediately I saw that comment from Richie. I'm like, oh my god, look at this.
Well, it's like
wild.
it's like you try to do an impression of a Southern accent. No one's gonna be like, you didn't get that right.
No,
it's because our accent is lesser than in the hierarchies. You know? But you
what
go to
it is?
British.
Yeah.
British is very much if you do someone who's smart or like a very calculating and cunning villain is going to have a British accent. And so like, that's why you're like, oh, that's pretty good. If you're like, let me tell you something, Mr. Man, you want to come on and take my Piggly Wiggly? You got another thing coming, sir.
I want to know what this scene is because I'm invested.
That's right. It is a guy who's
Wiggly?
doing his last stand at the Piggly Wiggly as corporate America.
He's a franchise owner. He owns
as corporate America tries to come and take it over, even though that is a big part of corporate America in the region of the South is the Piggly Wiggly. Yeah. So it totally makes sense. Like,
I like it. I would watch that film.
My favorite thing is it was long ago when all of the Harry Potter characters were still doing Harry Potter, and they're like, all right, we want you to try and say these words in an American accent, and they're like Olive Garden. They had to try to get these all the children actors are trying to be like Olive Garden and say it like an American. It was very very funny. It's very entertaining. And that was before like Daniel Radcliffe had done like anything else, and so like he actually did a really good job of being like Olive Garden. I'm like, oh shit, okay. This guy's got some chops,
Yeah, you're going places, Radcliffe.
You got this. He's like, yeah, you want to see my dick as I do this play about a horse, because it's coming in more ways than one,
Glazed horses.
Glazed horses. That sounds like a tagline to some jingle, Glazed horses,
Do you need help with your financial planning? Glazed horses.
Isn't that the best? You like today I was just thinking like I'm doing this project and I'm trying to make up a fake like insurance document to see if people can tell like what's fake, and it's like farmers insurance. I'm like that's just like a general insurance company who's like and then their jingle is we are farmers dun 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 dun. It's like what the fuck?
Right. It means like I love it. Yeah.
I'm like, that's genius. Like someone sold that. They're like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, we are farmers. Dun, 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 dun. They're like, fucking love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was catchy.
How much money do you want for this? They're like, 5 million plus residuals. You're like, done.
We're going to make so much more off this.
This is great. Who's the guy from Whiplash that we could have in here to like represent us?
He's got big farmer energy. Let's get him in here.
Yeah, it's just there's so many things where you're like, oh, that's an interesting name, and it doesn't do anything that you think it does. You're like, that's
the name. What's the name of the insurance company you came up with?
Oh, I had two.
Okay.
One was Captain Rogers Insurance. It was going to be American. The other one was Mjolnir Insurance.
Of course, I love it.
I had Mjolnir.
trying to spell that one. It's a Swedish, it's a Norwegian based insurance company, but they do extensive business here in the United States.
Yes. Yeah. That's my favorite thing to do is to make up shit like that and just have them as like little Easter eggs for people. It's always my favorite thing to do whenever I make trainings. Just be like, that's for anyone who knows. Also, the music choices I make for my videos are also little Easter eggs for people where I'm like, if you're in the know, you'll know what this is from. And
I was just hanging out with someone. I met someone through the Film Society up here. We grabbed coffee and we were talking, and he does training, corporate and training videos for a company in the area. And so we randomly just were like, oh, I was like, I do that too. And we were talking, and he's like, do you get a lot of like latitude with like what you can throw in there? I said, a little bit. And he goes, yeah, me too. Not that much. I said, let me tell you a story about my buddy. And I
tell you about a guy who had no rules.
I proceeded for 5 minutes to regale him with the videos you've made that were Mario themed, and he's like, and I told him who you work for. And he's like, are you kidding me? And I was like, yes. I said, now here's the caveat is most of these are internal. So it's not, they're not client facing. They're not, but I said, but still, I said the leeway he's been given in the last 3 companies is nothing short of spectacular.
And the reason why I'm pretty ballsy with that stuff is because it's internal. It's not going outside the organization. Outside the organization, I am very much like, okay, what are we doing today?
I got a lane and I live in it. Yeah.
Internal, I'm like, hey, let's have some fun. Pew, 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 pew.
Genuinely, I wish that the listeners could. It's impossible, but I wish that they could see some of what we're talking about, because you've sent these things to me, and I've like the first response every time you send them back to me is, how are you allowed to do this?
They were way more egregious early on.
That's true too.
I remember doing some sort of compliance video with legal, and I threw in clips from Predator. I threw in Overwatch clips. I was throwing in, and it never got approved. I'm like, gee, I wonder why. Like it was just like, yeah, man. I was doing the muscle, the handshake with the muscles from Predator. Yep. Like I was just throwing in everything I could. Poorly edited. It was early on in my time, and I was just like, hey, this is fun. 7-minute video about compliance. Like, let's make it fun.
The thing is, that is the way to get people to fucking pay attention to those.
Yeah,
if corporations could figure that out, that's the way to get people to, and you don't have to worry about it. It's all internal.
Yeah. Technically, I'm sure there's someone out there that's like, technically speaking, you can't do that. I'm like, yeah, but also, what are my intentions with this? My intentions with this are not to throw this on YouTube and make a buttload of money off of copyrighted material. Exactly. You know me. I'm the biggest rule follower when it comes to that stuff. I'm just like, hey, man, I'm not here to fuck around or whatever. I'm here to respect people's stuff. But I'm also like, this is for a training video that 10 people, maybe 50 people are going to see. Maybe that's 500.
That's why Doug would only let me have 0.7 seconds worth of music.
That's right.
He was very, very strict about that.
Respect for that shit, Throw some respect on that name. Throw some spit on that.
Tuah.
You know what? Here's a funny story.
Please.
Went to pick up my daughter the other day from school, and right as the bell rang, a boy came out and yelled, "Ha! Tuah!" And I just turned and looked at all the parents. I'm like, that kid just yelled that. And then he took a big old breath, put his hands up to his mouth, and he did it again, even louder. And he tapped the guy in front of him, the kid in front of him. He's like, I did it louder the second time. And I was like, this is how it ends.
2 things. First, I sigh deeply with you on that, mainly because we were both there. Like
we were.
Like I remember being that age and thinking, I'm like, it's so frustrating because you're like, you'll learn eventually.
But I'm just like, the reference on that, my friend, is about someone spitting on someone's cock. Like,
so that leads me to my second question: is who was the intended? Was he doing this to someone?
Just
was
shouting
there an intended audience? So
just shouting it and being like, I shouted that. I was like, you spitting on someone's dick there, little guy? Huh? Right. What are you doing?
Now, do you? Third question: do you know who this kid's parents are?
I don't.
Okay, I was like, let's shoot a glance right over there and see how they're reacting to it.
But it's also like they would give a shit. They're like, I don't know where he learned it, and he's like, here's your phone, Seth.
Right. Right.
Like just throws it. Of course. Yeah, that's how they learned it. Yeah, it's just it's an ongoing thing where someone think, oh, this is pretty cool if I do this. I mean, we all played the penis game.
Absolutely.
Penis. It's just, it was the thing, but it made me very sad where I was like, man, this is an elementary school kid. He is fifth grade or younger. He looks like he's younger than fifth grade, just coming outside after the bell rings and yelling from the top of his lungs, "Hawk tuah." And I'm like, that is a sexual origin.
Well, it does make you wonder if he just knows that it is a pop culture reference, or if he knows, does he have any indication of like what the meaning is? You know, and that's where it gets real. I think even dicier is you're like, where does this stand?
Here's the thing: as I'm being so self-righteous the other day, apparently, Natalie just yells to Jill, "I'm gonna come!" Like. I wasn't there, but Jill goes, "Hey, whoa, you can't do that," you know, because she was watching my streams and she heard me play,
"I'm gonna come,"
and she saw the big reaction, and she's like, "You can't say that.
Oh,
can't say that. You can't say that."
Oh no. Yep. So again, yeah. I feel like it is a very. It could just be someone needs to educate the kid because he sees it's a pop culture-y thing. Thought it was funny. Yep.
Jill's like, nope. We're going to course correct on that one. Do not do that. Do not do that. That's bad. If you say that at school, you are going to be in big trouble.
I'm just saying, like, let's put them together. Let's have them shout their catchphrases because it kind of goes
we can do
hand in hand.
both. I got it on the soundboard. We can make this all happen, you know? It's just like, yeah. That's why sometimes I'm like, you know, she's watching my streams. I'm happy, but I'm also like, well, shit, she's learning stuff. That's for sure.
She doesn't watch this show, right?
No.
I have to assume this is wildly boring for her.
No.
It's wildly boring for most people.
There's no reason why she would want to watch this at all. So, although she definitely is like, here's my dad's podcast. It's Mind Gap Podcast. You can watch it on YouTube. I'm like, okay. Don't. She's like, I told my teacher about your podcast. I'm like, oh, boy.
Right.
Hopefully it's not for them. Goo. Yeah. So that being said, like as I admonish the Hawk tuah boy, I'm also like, yeah, my daughter says I'm gonna come apparently. So, you know, what are you gonna do?
Out of the mouths of babes.
Yeah, it's
funny.
Out
of the mouths.
It's funny when you're just like, no. Completely side tangent here. Been just watching movies and I'm having another one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, this movie doesn't age well because we don't have the same values as this movie. In a sense of, I was watching Batman Begins the other day.
Okay.
And the most unbelievable thing about that film that includes, you know, a billionaire's son who runs off to the Far East to learn ninjutsu from the League of Shadows and comes back to his town and basically arms himself with tanks and, you know, fights in the night and all that sort of stuff. And there's a guy who basically puts fear poison in the water and all sorts of stuff. The most unbelievable thing about that is Bruce Wayne's dad, the billionaire, giving back to the city. I was like, that would never happen. That would never happen. There's a line where he's like, you know, son, the city's been good to us and we're trying to do our best to give back to the city. You know, a lot of people are hurting. We did well. They're not. So that's why we built this train. I'm like, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't be that altruistic. You'd be hoarding that money like fucking Smaug. There's no way. Yeah. Absolutely no way.
Yeah.
There's no way Bruce Wayne would come out with the values of like, I need to protect my city. Absolutely not. No way.
I was going to say it makes it the entire lore of Batman is just false in that regard.
Yeah.
Like a billionaire's son who has his parents murdered is not going to turn into a vigilante for justice. They're going to turn into an absolutely insane person. They're either going to be a supervillain or they're going to be so hopped up on coke and other narcotics and just living somewhere in Bali or something.
There's too much of this today where it's just like you look back and the institutions and things that we valued, we're like, oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's a wonderful story.
It's a wonderful story. And it's like you look back on that.
Happen.
It's funny. You just look back. I mentioned this before. We look back on like some of the movies from the 90s. You're like, oh, what a day. What a day.
Mm-hmm.
When people are like, just give this to the media and they'll blow this wide open. I'm like, that can't happen anymore. No way. You know, or there's a presidential scandal of a president who wanted to basically have a secret war in Central America. because of drugs, and he didn't. It would have been a scandal if anyone figured that out. I'm like, boy, that's very quaint. If that's a scandal,
right
nowadays,
that's
like,
a Tuesday
Jesus
nowadays.
Christ, that is no big deal.
Do you ever? I've been finding myself recently very nostalgic for the 80s and the 90s. Like just like looking back, and I think it's more just the simplicity. Like, look, there again, big problems happening, huge problems from cultural, social. Like, I get it, but there's like from my own little bubble, man, do I miss just the simplicity. I've been going back and watching some like commercials, like super cuts of like commercials from those era, and it's just like, man, everyone was just in a good mood. Like
it felt that way for sure.
It felt that way.
For me, the 90s are always going to be like, it's funny. I think we talked about this. Like when you think of numbers, do you think of colors that are associated with them?
I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but it's kind of like that. What is it? Synesthesia? Is it synesthesia? Is that what it's called? Where
that was a bad Disney movie.
I have no idea how to. There you go. Yeah, spell it. It's a rare neurological condition with stimulation of one sense involuntary triggers another. So like if you hear like music, you see a color, or a number, like you can taste sound, or yeah. So I think very similar, like
terrible
a number
X-Men
will
powers. It's terrible. The worst.
See? Jubilee's not the worst anymore.
No, not anymore. Not next to Craig, who's like, I can taste Papa
Craig,
Roach. You know,
what's your power, synesthesia? What? I can taste Papa Roach.
I can taste Trapped. Doesn't taste as good as Papa Roach.
No, it's Papa Roach is a little bit like caramel. Trapped is like burnt embers.
Yeah. And then there's Creed, who just tastes like really cold, lukewarm hot dog water.
Hot dog water. Kind of like congealed fat bubbles in the hot dog water.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're talking about numbers that bring up colors. So
yeah.
you get
when I think of the 90s, like that decade and the number of the 90s, I think of something that's like sunny, like a nice like 5 p.m. summertime, like the sun's starting to come down, but it feels good. You're outside, you're playing. That's what I think of when I think of the 90s.
Sure, absolutely.
Because that was like the heyday. Like in 1990, I was 7 years old. Yep. So obviously my formative years were spent in that decade.
Yep.
You know, by the end of that decade, I was about out of high school. So like I was, I think of that decade very fondly.
Yeah.
Of just experiencing the internet, upgrades to computers and gaming and just whatever. Like, so I look back at that decade extremely fondly, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
As I think most people do, right? They get to our age and they start being like, it was great back when I was a kid, because you didn't have any fucking responsibilities.
Yeah. Well, and now I'm realizing as I'm getting older, like I'm realizing why everyone is so nostalgic for a certain period in their lives is because it was simple. And some of your best, like most fondest memories were birthed out of that time period and out of those experiences. Yeah. Like for me, it's the same thing. Like I harken back to like the summertime, like riding my bike as fast as I could, dripping with sweat, and then just like hanging out, just fucking coming back in, grabbing a purple popsicle from the downstairs. From the garage freezer. Like it's like such very, very visceral memories.
Yeah. And it's like that. Those are the great years because you didn't have to pay taxes. You didn't have to have a job.
You didn't have a calendar, really. Someone else kept your appointments.
No shit. You didn't have a fucking phone yet.
Right.
It was just in general. Yeah, there was obviously some tough times and stuff like that, but generally it's just positive, stuff. So like, you look back to that, you're like, that's great. I like that. Yeah. And the movies kind of reflect also economically.
And that's
pretty decent, like just foreign relations wise, 9/11 hadn't happened yet. So people were like, we're doing great. We're making movies about Arnold Schwarzenegger punching terrorists. Like, it's like, it's kind of campy, fun action movies. Yeah. And then 9/11 happens and all of a sudden shit gets real dark. Yeah. Obviously, the tone of everything changes. The media, the patriotism that goes into it. I mean, fuck, the Dark Knight trilogy is a reflection of that. Dark Knight's a reflection of that. Like all that stuff reflects the reality of it. Music and everything like that. It changes. So
yeah.
So now we look back and it's like, fucking pretty brutal time.
Yeah.
It's been what 24 years of bullshit since 9/11
of progressively just getting more cynical and diving further into. I don't trust anything. Nothing's real.
Yeah.
Nothing matters.
And so when you watch a movie where you're like, here's a benevolent billionaire, you're like, no, They don't exist.
Okay.
That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't believe that for a second.
Iron Man, it's a great movie, but it stops and starts there. Or starts and stops there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little more believable to some extent because it, the bad things happen to him personally. And that's the only way a lot of these people realize there's a problem if it affects them personally.
Sure. But even if that happened, I still don't think like Elon Musk would ever.
Okay.
I don't think he'd ever fly the nuke back into the hole.
We're not ever going to compare Elon Musk to Tony Stark ever again. That is. I'm so angry that he made a cameo in Iron Man 2. Like, I'm so angry that he's been able to like somehow portray himself as like an actual Tony Stark.
I'm the Tony Stark. Yeah, exactly.
He is not.
Well, I bring that up because of that comparison that's been made. But like, he's not the type of person that would ever fucking do that. So like, again, it's a great story. Like, even if it happens to him, even if the circumstances are slightly different in that story,
I find Tony Stark to be a little more believable than
because he still does stuff for himself.
He is because one, the tragedy that happens to him personally, obviously it happens with Batman too, right? Like personal tragedy, his parents are killed and whatever. So like he may want to do it, but with Iron Man, there's something about him using. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth here. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about him that I think that I find to be a little more believable. Maybe I'm wrong.
He's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
That's believable.
Yeah. Because I guess the thing about it is because he does fancy himself the hero in his own mind. Like that, I think is very.
Yeah. Well, he's ego driven, but he, at 100%. The end of the day, maybe that's what the shred of reality there is, the fact that he's ego driven. But
you know what, though, because you know what it is? He's like, I know better than everybody else.
Right.
I know better than the government.
Right.
I'm more efficient than the government.
And that gets him into trouble a lot of the time. Yeah. He gets over his head a little bit based on that ego.
Yeah.
Always ends up saving the day, which again, there's the
fantasy
part.
Yeah. There's the fantasy that this fucking billionaire
he always chooses the right thing at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah.
He'll sacrifice. No.
Sure.
No.
Sure. But yeah, that's it's tough. It's tough seeing those films and those things and being like, yeah, boy, that was a day, wasn't it? When we thought that this shit was really
was it? Yeah.
These things were real, even though they're fictitious. We're like, we can put our hearts and our minds behind something like that. It's like, not anymore. You look at that, like, show me a billionaire that'd be a good guy. Show him to me.
Right. Well, and for any billionaires that are listening to this, which we do shockingly have quite a few that listen to this show, I would say if you're offended by this, prove us wrong. Do something good.
Yeah.
Make the selfless choice at the end of the day.
Campaign and lobby for a 90% tax on people that are billionaires. How about that?
Do the right thing.
You fucking cunts.
Horrible British impression.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, I ain't no British person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, there we go.
Speaking of Batman, real quick, did you hear about the and I feel like this is older news now that I'm clicking on some articles, but it just came across my thing today. Apparently there's a Schumacher cut of Batman Forever.
Why do I feel like I've heard this?
I don't know. There was a huge campaign to release the Schumacher cut. Apparently, like Kevin Smith saw it. A lot of those who have seen it have said like it is it makes it great. I don't know. I haven't really dove into this. I just briefly saw this come across my feed for some reason today of all days. But now I'm curious. Would you watch a Schumacher cut?
I haven't seen Batman Forever. I don't know.
In forever.
Since it came out, maybe? I don't know. Like, it's such a forgettable film. But, I mean, I remember being pumped because I was like, oh, sweet. It's got, fucking Jim Carrey as the Riddler, which looking back on that, it's like, Jesus.
Which is the worst film to you? Is it Batman Forever or Batman and Robin? You want to talk about a forgettable film? I feel like Batman.
Honestly, if you're talking forgettable,
I'll
say this much: Batman and Robin is way more memorable than Batman Forever.
Do you think so? Really?
Way more memorable because it's so fucking stupid. It's so insane. Like I literally, until you brought this up, like I totally forgot Tommy Lee Jones was in it.
Oh yeah.
Fucking Nicole Kidman was in it. I fucking forgot Val Kilmer was in it. Like it's just a movie that is just very forgettable. And it's just insane. So yeah, if we're talking like memorable ones, definitely Batman and Robin's more memorable in my head. Horrible films.
They really are. I don't know. I always preferred, out of the two, I preferred Batman Forever, but just because when I was younger, I was a Jim Carrey fan.
Oh, I would prefer Batman Forever over Batman and Robin, but
Oh, okay.
Again,
but you're saying that this more memorable because it was such a shit show of a movie.
Yes, it was insane. Like bat skates, he's like got a bat thing for everything. I'm like, what are we doing? Even then, when I watched it, I was like, I think it was like me and like one other person in the theater seeing that movie, and I was like, this movie is awful.
This movie is off the wall.
And that was a big thing for me to acknowledge when I was a kid. Like when I was younger, I'd be like, this movie isn't good. Like that's tough. It's a tough sell.
Hold on, Batman and Robin was okay. So it came out 2 years later, 97. Batman Forever came out in 95. That's okay.
Yeah, I remember 97 because of the seal, Kiss from a Rose,
Yes. Holy cow. Yep.
That was a soundtrack because some asshole, I bought that soundtrack and I went to a summer camp and some motherfucker stole it from me.
What?
Real piece of shit.
Motherfucker.
But here, guess what? Joke's on you. You have the Batman and Robin soundtrack. And I don't. Joke's on you, asshole.
Fuck you. The one scene that I that sticks out the most to me, and I think it was Batman and Robin talking about like just like egregiously bad that you're like, wow, I'll never forget. The burnt seared in was when he was driving the Batmobile. See, now I'm fuzzy now and I'm recounting it, but the Batmobile, the Bat Cycle up like a statue, and he drove off the arm. And I was like, I just even remember at the time, my youth could not save me from that scene. I'm like, physics disagree with everything in this scene right now. I don't like this.
Yeah. My favorite thing about Batman was Kevin Smith was asking a question of Tim Burton, like at some sort of Comic-Con or something like that. And he asked him a question about the comics, and Tim Burton's like, well, he's kind of making like a flippant comment, like, yeah, I don't read the comments. And Kevin Smith was like, well, that explains your Batman films, like just.
So Kevin Smith was not a fan of the Tim Burton Batmans.
Well, it's if you watch the first movie, Batman sees Joker, and what does he say? I'm going to kill you. Like he plans on murdering the Joker. Like
that's fair. I didn't. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. I just remember it. That to me, that lives in my head as one of those like it's locked off in a vault as an untouchable. Like this is an amazing like. OG
well, it was. I mean, it was incredibly fucking just successful, and it was like you think about again superhero films for their time and stuff like that. It was there's nothing like it.
Yeah,
it made assloads of money. Like it was dark and entertaining, and you watch it now, you're like, ooh, I don't know. But for the time, like I respect it. Like there's a lot of movies that I don't like. Superhero movies that I don't like. I don't really like the original X-Men. Honestly, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films, not a huge fan of them. But I respect them because they elevated that stuff to the next level. You hadn't seen anything like it before.
I guess I had not gone back and looked at it with like comic book eyes or fresh. Like, what is the canon of Batman?
Yeah,
how does that film stack up with that? I'd have never really looked at it from that.
I can't remember when I rewatched it, but I'd seen enough Batman for it to seem to grab the Joker and be like, "I'm going to kill you." I'm like, "Whoa, hold on!" And he's trying to kill him. I'm like,
you have one rule. What's going on here?
Right. And he like kind of does kill him. Joker's getting away, and he like, does the whole grapple thing around a fucking gargoyle statue, and it ultimately kills him.
That's fair too. Yeah.
And he's like, good job.
I did it.
I am the Dark Knight.
You sound like the Honest Trailer guy right there.
Right. Yeah.
That was really well done.
Thank you.
That was a good impression.
That was unintended consequences. Yeah. Interessante. Justin, would you like to play a game, my friend?
Fuck yeah, I would. Let's play this game.
Let's play this fucking game, brother. Man, I've been writing down all sorts of stuff, and I've been having
because you've been going on this watching tirade.
I've just been watching a bunch of shit, and then I'm also just like I like to grab these because they're just random. And there was actually one I have yet to grab because I can't fucking find it anywhere. I might have to get very creative and like
Is
pull
it
up
available?
the actual film online and then like actually manually record the line that I want to get.
I was
probably
gonna say,
from
if
a
it's
film I don't
streaming
think you've
somewhere.
seen, so it's probably even just a wasted effort, but I'm still going to do it.
You're so excited for this one, and I'm going to completely bomb it.
I don't think you've seen the film, but it's just such an interesting line out of context that I just want to play for you. You'd be like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's a good summation of the film. But anyway, we're going to be playing Guess That Movie, or Justin, I'm going to play Justin an audio clip, and he has to guess what movie it's come from. So, Justin's hasn't missed one yet, so we'll see if he can keep his streak alive.
Don't think that's right.
Yeah, you lost a lot of confidence there. You're like, I don't know about that one.
Hold on.
I don't know about that one. All right,
And
Justin, you ready?
Doug hit his head that one time, and everything's just questionable.
And everything is just like good, I think this is good. This is really good. He doesn't hate stuff anymore.
You are the only one that has not. I think your record is flawless in this.
I don't think so. There's been a couple that I think
that first
like
time
American
around,
Psycho. Like I didn't get.
Yeah,
that
but
one.
I picked 3 really bad ones the first.
Doesn't matter. I still didn't get them.
They were so bad.
They were
so out of context. Remember though? Hold on. Hold on. I gotta pull up which ones they were again.
I only remember there was American
so
Psycho.
bad.
I just remember looking and just being like, I don't know what this is at all. Like,
well, it was because again, out of context, the chainsaw. You're like motorcycle. I'm like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, that's not.
It's obviously a motorcycle. You're like, oh no.
Oh, this is gonna be a long game. Hold on. Soundboard. What do I have? These movie clips. So it was November, October. It was October. Okay. So I had that wasn't it. Was that
This
it?
is actually our favorite
Full Metal-
segment is Justin looks for audio files.
Yeah. The first one I did was Full Metal Jacket, Indiana Jones, and When Harry Met Sally. You nailed that one.
Yes, I got those. Yeah.
The next one I did was American Psycho, Batman, The Batman, which is him beating the shit out of the guy on the platform.
Right. Yeah.
But again, out of context, it was just like.
I was like,
with rain in the background.
I was like, I don't know what this is, but yeah.
And then the last one was The Dark Tower.
Oh, I did get that one though.
You did get that one, yeah.
Something clicked, and I was like, "Oh, I know what this is." I only saw it one time.
Was that McConaughey?
I was like, "I think that's McConaughey." I'm like, "Oh shit, I think I know what this is." Yeah, good stuff.
Horrible. Let's go, Doug.
All right, Justin, you ready?
Ready.
There we go.
Like Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga, the witch. I tell stories to children to frighten them. You know Baba Yaga?
You know Baba Yaga?
You know Baba Yaga? Well, the only place that I've heard someone reference the Baba Yaga was John Wick.
Nope.
So now there's another movie that they talk about, the Boogeyman.
As you can tell, this has very big John Wick vibes.
I tell the story to children.
You know Baba Yaga?
We sent him in club. He killed 3 men with pencil.
You know him? You know
Like
Baba
this.
Yaga?
I'll say that the tell the stories to kids to frighten. That line sounds that part of the thing sounds really familiar. This isn't Sacha Baron Cohen, is it?
It's not.
Okay. Play it again for me.
Like Baba Yaga.
So sultry.
Baba Yaga, the witch. I tell stories to children to frighten them. You know Baba Yaga?
That's my favorite part. I want to do just that part. I'm like, I can't. I got to give a little bit more. Yeah.
You know Baba Yaga?
You know Baba Yaga? Because he leans forward. He's like,
yeah.
You know Baba Yaga? I quote that all the time. That's why I pulled this one.
Is this David Harbour's character in The Black Widow?
It is not.
Okay.
It is not.
Is it him from Thunderbolts?
It is not him.
Okay, just double checking that.
It is. I'll give you this hint. It is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Ooh, shit. Okay.
Does that help?
Maybe.
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
What the hell would they? Okay, what is it? Okay, well, let me ask you this: is it film or TV? Have we crossed into TV?
I don't.
Now?
I have.
Okay.
I will not do TV unless I give you way advance notice.
All right, got it. Okay, so it's a film. Fucking Christ! It's in the Marvel universe. One of the movies. Eastern European sounding guy talking about the Baba Yaga to scare kids. I was gonna say it definitely has like some levity to the delivery. Like it's kind of like a. Is this from Ant-Man?
It's from one of the Ant-Men.
This is from Ant-Man 2.
I don't know. You don't seem too sure, Justin.
Oh, well, I'm gonna confidently say Ant-Man 1.
It's Ant-Man 2.
God damn it! I thought you were trying to give me a hint and help me out there.
Nope, I was challenging your confidence.
Awesome, cool. Is this from when they're holding them hostage in the security office?
So this particular part comes from when Hank Pym and crew and Scott Lang show up at the ex-con office, and they're talking about this person they saw that was phasing in and out. They're like, yeah, she was like a ghost. And then David Desmalchin's character, Kurt, goes,
okay,
like Baba Yaga.
Right.
And everyone just turns and looks at him. He's like, the bitch, like,
yeah.
And then he just like, and then he leans to Michael, like there's a pause and Michael Douglas kind of looks at me. He's like, you know, Baba Yaga? Like he just, and then later on in that same office, they're like being like held, they're given truth serum. And then the ghost character shows up and he's like, Baba Yaga.
That's Yep. Now I remember fully. Yes.
I love his, you know, Baba Yaga.
Yaga?
It's one of my favorites.
I feel like that's the crew in that, like his crew, like it's such an underplayed. That's such great characters in that. All three of them.
I saw someone post, I would love to see Michael Pena's character from Ant-Man basically do a 10-minute recap of the Infinity Saga.
Oh my God.
As he did, like just
when he's got the truth serum and he's just going,
he's just like ripping
off the,
like he did in the first one. He's like, oh yeah,
Holy
you remember
shit.
that time when he met that person? And he just like starts going off and like, yeah, they're like, oh
That'd
my
be
God,
amazing,
I would love to see him just do a recap of the Infinity Saga.
That would be amazing. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Ant-Man 2, we're gonna call that one a tie.
It's fair.
I don't know what that means with our. It's not a win or a loss. It's just a draw.
Yeah, you kissed your sister. All right, here we go.
Dear God, I failed again, haven't I? No, you haven't failed. God has nothing to do with it. Do you like this? Do you like being food for the immortals?
Sorry, I realized to get out of context. I'm like, whoa, this sound effects could go a couple of different ways.
Real. I was listening to it with my eyes closed. I'm like, oh God. Is it? So is the first voice Martin Sheen?
No.
Shit. Okay. Hit me again.
Dear God, I failed again, haven't I? No, you haven't
Is that
failed.
Emilio Estevez?
God has nothing to do with it. Do you like this? Do you like being food for the immortals?
Is Christian Slater in this?
Yes.
Clip? Okay.
Slater
thank God.
Thank God. I can tell voices.
Oh, I got one of them. Doesn't help me, but I got one of them. This one's going to be tough. Food for the Immortals.
It's a key line.
Is it the Immortals?
Fuck, I gave it away. No.
Nailed it. How about the Eternals? No?
You didn't know it. This was an all Marvel session tonight.
I got it. Didn't even realize Christian Slater was in that film.
No, he wasn't.
Who do you think played the giant hand coming out of the ocean at the
Christian
end?
Slater. Obviously, it's modeled after him. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you don't know hands.
My new favorite board game. Just a bunch of pictures of hands. You got to guess who they belong to.
And then the advanced version is hands with gloves on them.
That's right.
Yeah. Fuck, man. I would ask for it one more time, but I don't think it's going to help me. Let's just, because we like to do them in threes, let's do it one more time.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go.
Dear God, I failed again, haven't I? No, you haven't failed. God has nothing to do with it. Do you like this? Do you like being food for the immortals?
I mean, top-notch delivery, by the way.
Yeah, right?
Top-notch delivery. Do you like being food for the immortals?
Yeah.
Don't know what accent that was at the end. Is this the movie Sliders?
It is not the movie Sliders.
Is that a movie? No idea.
I'm sure it is.
And
it was a TV show.
Doug, I'm gonna have to fully.
This
give up
movie
on this
came out
one.
in 1994.
Oh shit! Okay, Lawnmower Man.
No, but also, again, we're talking about 90s movies. Hey, we're having a fun time.
Why not?
Living in virtual reality and Lawnmower
Right.
Man.
Okay, it came out in 94.
Mm-hmm. It's got Christian Slater.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I could tell you two other
But I guess
names,
that-
but like, you know,
But it might give
I
it
tell
away.
you three other names, you'd be like, okay.
Broken Arrow.
He was in. That was John Travolta. But you like being food for the immortals. So like, John, what
That was
movie
the-
we doing? This
that
isn't
was the
Battlefield
director's-
Earth, man. Like, what are you doing?
That was the director's cut of that one. They took
Antonio Banderas plays a part in this film, a smaller part.
Hmm.
He's a smaller character. Oh man! It's based on a story by Anne Rice.
Chicken Little.
God, you're so close.
Chicken Big.
Duck Big.
Duck Big. I don't know, man. I give up on this one.
Interview with a Vampire.
God damn it. Okay. I don't think I would have gotten that one. It has been, I can't even tell you the last time I saw that movie. It has been so long since I've seen that movie. So
makes sense. That's
that
the
one,
end of the film.
Yeah.
Basically, Brad Pitt's character is stopped. You know, he's like, "That's my story." He's like, "It can't end there." He's like, I know you brought me up here is because you want a companion and whatever." And he's like, "Dear God, I failed again." He's like, "No, you haven't." And God doesn't have anything to do with it. And he just grabs him by the throat, puts him up against the ceiling. He's like, "Do you like this? Do you like being food for the immortals?" He's like, "No."
So that was Brad Pitt's voice, the first voice?
Mm-hmm.
I got to hear it again now. Play it one
I
more
was like,
time.
let's play it again. Here you go.
Dear God, I failed again, haven't I?
You hear it now?
haven't failed.
No.
God has nothing to do with it.
Do you like this? Do
Now,
you like being food for the immortals?
Do you
now
hear it
I
now?
hear it. Yeah.
Now I hear it
Yeah,
because you
absolutely.
told me. You told me that's what it was.
All right, let's do the last one here.
Here we go. I got good hopes for this one. I think you got this one.
All right.
Here we go.
And here we go.
Easy.
Yeah.
That was Joker 2 Folie à Deux. Am I wrong?
Tell me, prove me wrong. Prove it.
I think I'm right. That was the Joker.
I'm
Doug. Don't
pretty
try
sure I
to
got
tell
that
me it
right.
wasn't the Joker. Okay.
Go fuck yourself.
You're right. Okay. Sorry.
That is.
That was Suicide Squad.
Now.
Wrong Joker again. Damn it. Okay.
Sorry, it was the end credit sequence from Zack Snyder's 4-hour cut of Justice League.
in the wasteland, right? Batman's
In
got
the
him on the
wasteland.
car and he says,
Yeah.
"Here we go." Yeah.
eh,
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
going on an adventure. No, sorry. The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Yes.
One of my favorite lines from the trailer when I first saw it and everything
Yeah.
like that. It's just a great line.
That is one of those lines that when someone says the phrase, I can't not hear that. Like there's some lines where in the world when someone says,
Mhm.
"All right, here we go," every single time
Yes.
in my head I go, "Here we
We
go."
go.
Yeah.
I just recently rewatched that whole trilogy. I'm just like, man, Dark Knight still holds up to me,
Yeah.
man. Still good.
Was there plans to have him and Bane together in the third one? Do you know?
I thought he was going to be in it. I think, I can't remember. I had heard rumors. It was just all hearsay. I don't even know if I read it in an article. I just heard that someone heard from something that like Joker was going to be in it. And I feel like there was going to be something continuing on with Two-Face, but I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Okay.
But
just wonder,
missed opportunity to even do a cameo or some
Uh-huh.
sort of not a cameo. Obviously, that's fucking insensitive.
But no, I know what
But,
you're saying. Yeah.
you know, what I would have loved in Dark Knight Rises, as you know, Bane is storming Blackrock Prison. I would love to just see like a cut to a padded cell, just the back of them watching a TV, seeing this, and just hearing them laugh,
Exactly.
like as they're watching it happen, because that was Joker's plan all along, was to watch all this stuff fall
Just
apart, and I think he
burn,
would
yeah.
be. I think it would have been great.
Oh, he'd have been so happy. And then as soon as he hears the explosion, he says, "Now here we go." They could just co-opt that audio
Here we go.
recording, and here we
Yeah.
go.
And my one gripe that I still have with
Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises is it irritates me to no end because it just seems, I'm not a writer, but I'm just like, you're at the end of the film and Bruce has just climbed out of the hole, and then we cut to Gotham and Gordon's like, we've got 1 day till this bomb goes off. I'm like, why is it 1 day? Why are we at 1 day already? Bruce isn't here yet. Why are we like, we got 1 day to go? I'm like, why not a week?
Right.
Give him a week.
He gets back there in less than 24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, because he gets there, he's like, Lucius, that bomb goes off in 14 hours. I'm like, what? How do I know? No. We had all this time. And you're like, it goes off tomorrow.
Right.
You could have that moment later. And maybe you're like, we don't have enough time left in the film. But I'm like, yeah, it just drove me nuts. I'm like, you just got out of the hole? We're down to a day? Fuck off. Anyway, sorry.
Genuinely.
Always bugged me.
I can feel it.
Justin, good job. What do you have to recommend this week, bud?
I'm gonna pull in front. I know there's other things I've been watching, but no. You know what? I'm gonna add something in here last minute.
I'm gonna cry foul. Crying foul.
Okay, you can cry all you want, but it's not gonna change things. If you have not watched Severance yet, if you have not gotten on board and jumped on that fucking train, do it now. Okay, Severance. I'll fight someone. About this. I don't care. I don't care if I lose the physical fight. I'll win the mental one. Severance is amazing. It is. I think one of the best examples of original storytelling I've seen in a long time. It's beautifully shot. I mean, it is such a complex story. The way they weave it together is masterfully done. Season 2 is nearing the end. We either have 1 or 2 episodes left. I think it's going 10 episodes, and I think we're on 8. So we're nearing the end. And it's one of those that leaves you with more questions than it does answers, but you're not mad at it. You just can't wait for the next. Any morsel they give you in any episode that answers a previous question is so satisfying, and you just can't wait for the next thing. So it, again, beautifully shot from top to bottom. Every end of the production it's a masterclass in storytelling, filmmaking, everything. So I would strongly recommend, if you've not watched it yet, watch it. Ben Stiller. He did an interview, I think, and he talked about why they had said, like, well, why did you, was it a conscious effort to move away from acting? And he goes, it was. And he told him, he goes, it was around Zoolander 2. He goes, I was aging out of playing that character, and the way it was received by audiences, I knew I had to do something else. And there was a lot more I wanted to tell as far as stories go. And he goes, that's when I moved a little bit more behind the camera and started to find these kind of stories. And it is I think what makes this cool is he has found people dissociate while they're at work. So he's taken something that is universally, like, people don't like their jobs. They kind of want to disassociate when they get to work. He's taken that and he's exploded that on a much grander scale and really looked at it like, let's blow this up and really look at it with a microscope, like get all the fine details of it. And what does this mean in a kind of an off-kilter world? And it's fucking cool, man. It's really, really cool. So I would strongly recommend watching Severance. By the time, everyone starts to get on board, you should be able to pretty much stream both seasons straight through.
Nice.
We're right there.
Severance, Ted Lasso, or a glass of cold hot dog water. Which one do you pick?
Have we figured out if it congeals? Because I know Ted Lasso doesn't congeal.
There's like one way to find out, Justin.
All right, give me the hot dog water. Doug, what do you got?
I watched Heretic.
Ooh, that's on my list.
On Max, starring Hugh Grant. And it's fucking great. A24 film, classic sort of A24 style.
Yeah.
It's also, very much about religion, which will always grab my attention. But basically the log line for it is 2 young missionaries become ensnared in a deadly game of cat and mouse when they knock on the door of the diabolical Mr. Reed. Trapped in his home, they must turn to their faith if they want to make it out alive.
Yes.
Very well done. It was a very enjoyable film. Yeah, it's fantastic. So highly, I didn't write Topher. That was Topher Grace. Huh? How about that?
Spoiler.
That? Something every day. Barely in it. But yeah, it's a great film. It's on Max. A24. Highly recommend it. Go check it out.
Nice.
Or else. All right, gang. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you as always. If you want to do us a solid, head over to youtube.com/mindgappodcast and hit the like button. That's a free way of supporting us. Hit the subscribe button as well, also free. Click the link in the description, and you can follow a link over to our Discord, to our Patreon, to our merch. Leave us a comment. Let us know, what would you choose for, the different waters. Do you think Batman is a realistic character for the fact that he's a billionaire and he probably wouldn't give a shit? Did you get any of the audio? Let us know from those movies. We'd love to hear from you and what you think. And be sure to share us around as well. We'd appreciate that. And be sure to follow Justin online as well.
On Instagram at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. While you're in the online realm, excuse me, anywhere where you can listen to audio podcasts, you can listen to us. So go ahead and subscribe to us, download all the things, rate, review, share, do all the things you can do on those platforms. Listen, that's a big one. And also share, like Doug said, let someone know this week that we exist. Just take the link, send it over and say, I like this. I think you will too. It goes a long way. tuahstate.com, tuahstate on all social media, and loveanimprovfilm.com. Love an Improv Film on Instagram. Go ahead and check those things out too.
All right. With that, I'll say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Viewers, listeners, thank you. And you all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.